Kodak is out of business. Another good example is Nokia, right? So Nokia is the first company to create a cellular network in the world, but they keep on focusing on the hardware. They actually didn't spend any money, any research and development in the way user works with the mobile phones, right? If you remember, Nokia phones, they are like feature phones. It's a button phone, and it's only good for making and receiving calls and SMS and a little bit functionality here and there. But they never focused on the user experience. And when Apple came, they introduced the touch phone, right? And that basically was a fundamental difference between how a user works with mobile, right? And when the smartphones or the touch phones were in market, a lot of things actually got killed, right? So cameras, the music players, right? The gaming devices, all those things were eventually moved into the smartphones, and that actually killed the business that was around creating game stations and creating Walkmans and all. So this is a very good example as how a digital transformation really helped Apple, in capturing the mobile market. Another interesting story is Blockbuster. So Blockbuster Movies was a big chain in US, and they used to provide VHS, which are like cassettes, video cassettes, and then they shifted to CDs and DVDs, right? But they always focused on physical stores, right? Their main focus was on physical stores. So they kept on adding more and more stores across US, and they felt that this is the way business has to be done. And Blockbuster was a very big company in US. Netflix was a small company, and Netflix wasn't. The concept of Netflix didn't catch up initially, and they were actually in need of money. So they approached Blockbuster and said that why don't you take over us, right? But Blockbuster refused. They thought that the way Netflix was providing content to their users, that's not going to work. Okay, so right now what you see is Netflix is basically providing the streaming contents over your mobile phones and TVs and other devices, right? But when Netflix was started, they used to be in the movie business, right? And they used to courier the CDs to their customers, right? So in Blockbusters, customers would go and rent DVDs and CDs, but Netflix, it used to courier CDs to their customers, and then get it back from their customers. So their model was a bit different, right? And they approached Blockbuster and they said, why don't you buy us out? And Blockbuster refused that. And now you see that Blockbuster stores are closing down in US. Netflix is a big company, and there are millions and millions of users of Netflix across the world. So they have fundamentally changed how you would watch movies, how would you watch the web series and TV shows. So another good example of if you do not adopt changes, you do not survive. Again, Yahoo, I think again very good use case. Before Google came, Yahoo was in online advertising. Yahoo had a search engine, and the Yahoo revenues were, too good, right? They used to earn a lot of money through advertising and through search engine and all. And then Google came, and Google started with the search engine, and Yahoo thought that Google is like is a company who is doing stuff like what they are doing right now, and they wanted to buy Google. So they offered something to Google, and Google said, okay, this is less than what we expect. Why don't you increase that? But Yahoo refused. And then now what you see is Yahoo has practically very less presence in the search market. They have very less presence in the online advertising market. But on the other hand, look at the revenues of Google. It has skyrocketed, right? So they are earning millions and billions of dollars through online advertising through all their platforms, right? So again, this is a very good example of how companies did not adopt the new things that were coming through. And then basically it became a question of their survival. Some companies survived, some companies did not. And that's how, it has come to this point. All right, so a few benefits of digital transformation is, there is of course a cost reduction. You provide a improved customer experience, right? It's a new experience for customers. Then you would segment your market, right? So for customers in India, you would do things differently. For customers in US, you would do things differently. For customers in Europe, you would do things differently, right? So you basically segment the market and provide different experience to customers. You basically build new products, new services, that will give you a different experience to your end users, right? You use a lot of analytics because you want to understand if your users are liking the new product, if your users are liking the new service, right? So analytics is a very important part of digital transformation. And finally, you consolidate your operations. So, you may have different departments, different business units who are, doing operations, right? But in a digital business, you consolidate all of them, right? And they work together, they work collaboratively and give more value to your customers, right? So any company that wants to do digital transformation, they have all these drivers in front of them, and that's how they will start their digital transformation journey. Then you would segment your market. Now we would ask, how much is the market? So in 2018, the digital transformation market was like $290 billion. But in 2023, it's expected that it will be around $665 billion, right? So more and more companies, they are understanding that digital transformation is absolutely necessary to improve their business, to grow their business, to grow their revenues, right? And if they do not transform their business, then they will not survive. So companies are investing more and money in transforming their business. Now again, this is some analytics data that says. So this is a very interesting chart, right? So what this says is there are like 32 plus 10, 42% of companies that are investing between 10 million to 20 million or more than $20 million in digital transformation. But in next 12 months, look at this percentage. This is 34 plus 20, 54%, right? So there is a 12% jump in the amount of money that will be spent on digital transformation, right? So this is the trend, right? More and more companies are accepting the fact that they have to spend more money. They have to invest in digital transformation, which essentially means that there will be more jobs for digital transformation requirements. There will be more experts, more SMEs needed who can understand the business, who can transform the business. And because this is a very niche area, right? You are fundamentally changing the way business is done. Someone who has experience of digital transformation, someone who is expert, they have a high demand. They will always be in high demand, right? So this is a very niche job, right? And if someone gets into the digital transformation field, they will always be in demand. That's what this really says. That are investing between 10 million to 10 million. Okay, so another interesting thought from CEO of Box. So Box again is a company that provides the file sharing services on the cloud. Okay. So what he says is last 10 years of IT, they are about, it's been about changing the way people work. But the next 10 years, it will be about transforming your business. So this has a very deep meaning. So in last 10 years, people are more computer savvy. They are using, more and more computer systems to automate their stuff. But in next 10 years, that's not going to be sufficient. Next 10 years is all about transforming your business to work in a different way. Someone who has the experience of digital transformation. Okay, so now we talked a lot about digital transformation. What is a digital transformation? What are the benefits of it? If you don't do a digital transformation, what are the challenges? What are the issues? It's a question of survival. Now, if I want to go into a field of digital transformation, what do I need to know? How do I get started with becoming an expert in digital transformation? How do I get started in understanding what I need to do, what I need to learn, to digitally transform a business? So there are 5 key driving factors that are essential for digital transformation. First, of course, is Internet of Things. Right? Many of you know that Internet of Things is actually happening. So currently there are around, around 10 to 15 billion devices that are connected to Internet. But the estimation is that by 2030, around 100 trillion sensors would be connected to the Internet, right? And that's a huge number. And again, if you look at the current sensors, they are much better than the sensors you had before 5 years or 10 years, right? So they are lighter, they are cheaper, and they are faster, right? So if you are in a business, you would definitely look at the Internet of Things as how you would leverage Internet of Things to improve your business, to change the way you do your stuff, right? So one very important or very interesting thing that we have done is around the factory automation, right? So consider a large factory which has automation line, right, an assembly line, and there are various machines which manufactures different parts, and then they get assembled, in another assembly line. Now, because it's a machine, there is a wear and tear, and you have to do a maintenance of your machines. You have to replace the faulty parts. You have to spend efforts and money on keeping your assembly lines always up and running, right? Now, the way the factories are changing is they are integrating Internet of Things into their overall manufacturing process. So they attach sensors, right, to their machines, which gives them real-time data as how the machines are performing. And this data also tells them that if there is a fault, where the fault is exactly, right, what they need to do to resolve that fault, right? And this eventually makes the entire maintenance of the assembly lines very accurate and very fast. Okay. They also integrate the machine learning technologies with the data that they obtain from the sensors, and using that combination, they can actually predict when a machine is going to fail, right? They can actually predict when a part needs a replacement, right? So instead of a maintenance which is done after something broke down, it's like a preventive maintenance, right? So before something breaks down, you are actually fixing it, which helps you to keep your assembly lines and factories running 24/7, right? So that's the power of Internet of Things. So it's just one of the key driving factors in transforming business, making them more of digital business. So you leverage the Internet of Things, you leverage the sensors and the data, and you transform, the way your business is run. Then second is, of course, mobile computing. So earlier, people used to have desktops and laptops, and they would go to sites and look for the information, work with computers. That has changed, right? So people are using mobiles and tablets more than the laptops and the desktops. Right. So look at this chart. What this says is that the number of mobile users, it has surpassed the number of desktop or computer users. Which means that more and more users are mobile centric. They use mobile to perform the task, right? So you want to transform your business. Uh, One set of your customers are the mobile users. So you have to build something for your mobile users that will give them opportunity, to get the services from your business, right? So again, this is a very important driving factor for digital transformation. So if I want to transform my business, I always have to think about users who are on mobile and they use mobile as a primary device for interacting with my business, right? So, uh, so understanding of the mobile computing platform, understanding how to build mobile applications, understanding how to provide a very good user experience through mobile applications. That's a very important thing for you, right? So some of you may be interested in mobile computing. You want to build mobile apps, right? And mobile apps again is a key driver for digital transformation. So if you have mobile app development skills, if you understand how to build applications, how to give a very good experience to end users, you are of course in a right path, for helping business doing a digital transformation, right? So continue doing that. Third thing is social networking, right? Social networking is now very important. People, when they want to buy something, let's say on Amazon or Flipkart, they look at the reviews and ratings, and then they make their decision, right? Now, this data actually comes from the other users who have used that product, and now they provide the reviews as that product was really helpful or not, right? So this is all social networking, right? Now, if you want to reach to more and more customers, you have to take advantage of social networking. You have to be present on social networking sites. You have to excite people about your products and services so that they write about you. They give good rating about your services. And when you have a good rating, of course, your products will sell more and your revenues will increase. Okay. So social networking is another important thing for digital transformation. Now, as an engineer, as a developer, what does it mean by a social networking, right? So, as an engineer, what you should be aware of are the social networking platforms and how you can actually leverage these platforms to provide value to your customers. Okay, let's say I am a manufacturer of washing machine, right? And I am running a Twitter handle, and I launch a new model of my washing machine, right? And I ask customers to give them feedback through the Twitter handle. Okay, so basically, what people will do is they will do a tweet and they will hashtag my company or the washing machine model, right? So as an engineer, as a social networking engineer, what my job is to analyze the tweets that are coming from users and identify what is the sentiment of users. Is it a positive sentiment? Is it a negative sentiment? Is it a neutral? Right? That will give me some idea as if this model is doing good, this model is not doing good, and then I can make necessary changes in my model. Right? So this is the power of social networking. Okay. So as a company, you should always be present on social. You should always respect the feedback that you get on the social networking sites, and use that feedback to improve your products. Okay. So one component for digital transformation is integrating the social networking into your overall process, into your overall infrastructure, into your overall ecosystem. Big data and analytics, again, very interesting thing. So when you go to Amazon, right? If you are looking for a particular product, what Amazon does is they give you a few more recommendations. You could also look at this, or if you buy this, then also buy this, because generally people buy this in combination, right? If I'm planning to go to some location for vacation, right? The moment I search in Google, and then if I go to Amazon or Flipkart or any other site, I start noticing the advertisements about the place that I have just searched for, right? This is nothing but the big data and analytics, right? So what's important here is doing a real-time analysis and doing a real-time advertisement, doing real-time notifications to the users, so that they buy your services. Now imagine that there are millions and billions of users who are, using your services, and it's, gigabytes of data per second that's coming into your data center. Now you want to analyze this huge amount of data in real time, get meaningful insights out of this data, and then recommend something to the user, right? It's a big job. It's a very challenging job. But that's where the big data and analytics, comes into picture. And these are the drivers using which you would, as part of your digital business, give more and more personalized experience to your end users, right? So again, as an engineer, what's in it for me, right? So look at any business. Data is the like new oil. Data is like the new electricity. Okay, data is the new IP, right? So if you have data, you can always get good insights from the data. You can always analyze the data, understand the patterns, and then take a decision, right? So as an engineer, what are your options? You can look at the big data tools. You can look at the big data analytic tools. You can look at the real-time analysis, real-time data processing, because these things are really required when your business is digital, right? When you want to do all the things digitally, right? So big data analytics is very important thing, and some of you, if you are excited about big data analytics, do spend time, looking at the big data tools and how it helps improve your business. And finally, cloud computing. So many people, many companies, they want to adopt cloud because it saves money. It makes your infrastructure more agile, and it improves your timelines, right? So before cloud, companies has to create a purchase request to buy hardware, and then wait for the hardware, and then set it up, and then start using it. It used to take months and months. But with cloud, you just go to cloud and buy what you need, and you are live, right? So this basically has cut down the time required to procure hardware from months to minutes, right? And this is a very big advantage for customers and the enterprises, right? Secondly, companies which buy hardware, if that hardware is not fully utilized, it's just lying there, right? So it's a cost. You still have to run that hardware, you have to maintain it, you have to have a set of administrators who would manage that. It's basically a cost. But if you go to cloud, you don't really are purchasing any hardware, right? You are just using what you need, and when you are done, you just give it back. So you are just paying for what you use. You are not paying for what you will use in future. That's definitely a lot of saving for the companies. And third important thing is, right now you have 1,000 customers. Tomorrow you will have 10,000. Next month you will have 100,000, and then millions, right? So as your customers increase, you have to always update your infrastructure. It has to scale. Now, if you cannot scale your infrastructure, your users will not be happy because your application will not be fast, it will not be responsive, and people will not use your services, right? So you have to expand, you have to scale your infrastructure based on the demand, and that's what cloud gives you. So this is the final factor for digital transformation, that use cloud, right? Whether it's a public cloud, whether it's a private cloud, go for cloud, because that gives you a lot of good things to operate your business in a more efficient way, right? Now, as an engineer, uh, how should I go about it, right? So there are public clouds like AWS and Azure and IBM Cloud, Google Cloud. There are private clouds like Red Hat Cloud and Pivotal Cloud, Oracle Cloud, right? So as an engineer, you have to be aware of cloud. You have to understand how to use cloud, how to use services from cloud, how to use cloud to efficiently run applications and meet all the scalability and performance requirements, right? That eventually gives you a very good edge over the others, because you are proficient with the cloud, right? So we have looked at Internet of Things, mobile computing, social networking, big data analytics, and cloud computing. Cloud computing, these are the factors that are essential for digital transformation. And as an engineer, you are open to adopt one or more of these technologies, so that you will be ready to work on digital transformation. So it's a combination of all of these things which will be required for a digital transformation. And when you are expert in one or more of these, of course, you will always be in demand. Okay, so again, this is very interesting thing. So previously, the big were beating the small, right? If you are a big company, you will always buy a smaller company, or you will always beat a smaller company because they don't have enough resources or enough money to compete with you. But now the things are changing, right? It's the fast that is beating the slow. So if you are a very big company but slow, and there could be a small company which is very fast, that will eventually beat you, right? So Google was a very small company, Yahoo was a very big company, but Google was fast, Yahoo was slow, and Google eventually beat Yahoo. So now is the question of who is fast and who is slow, right? And what does it mean by you are fast, right? It means that you are actually leveraging all these technologies that we have seen on previous slides to make your business more efficient. So if you are expert in using cloud, if you are expert in using big data and doing analytics, you are fast, right? Because you are doing things more efficiently, and that's the way you will beat the other companies. So keep in mind, be fast. Learn these technologies. Be an expert in one or more, and that's how you will help businesses to transform and prosper. Okay, so I think let's look at the reference architecture. Now we have seen all theory. Now let's look at some practical. So what should I do if I want to transform a business, right? So take any company. So that company has a set of softwares they use. It's called commercial off-the-shelf COTS, right? So these are the softwares or tools that they buy from different vendors or ISVs. They would have some web services, they would have some cloud services, they would have a set of databases, right? So this is all present in any company or any organization. Now, these tools or these services, they use internally to do their business, right? but now they want to transform their business. They want to do things differently. Okay, so what are their goals? Now they should integrate the system with each other, right? If one system is very good at doing one things, another system is very good at doing another thing. Let them do the things they do best, and then integrate them together to get more value out of it. Okay, so the first goal for your digital transformation is integrating systems with each other. You do not really want systems to work isolated, independent of each other, because that doesn't give you any value. You would want to integrate the systems together. Okay, and second thing is, as we have seen in digital transformation, it's not only you who is creating value for your customer, but it's your partners, your vendors. They will also help you in creating value for your customers, right? So you have to expose your services to different stakeholders, like customers or other branches or vendors or partners, right? And we will look at this shortly. This is a very fundamental thing, for doing the things differently. And when you expose services to different stakeholders, you want to monitor how these services are being used, and you have to provide improvements. Okay? Again, we will look at this very shortly. This is very important, and unless you have this sort of monitoring in place, you won't be able to, do a good transformation of your business processes. And finally, whatever information you expose, you have to secure it, so that only trusted partners or trusted stakeholders, they will be able to use it, and not everyone. As we have seen in digital transformation, it's not only okay. So creating value for your customer. Let's look at the smart elevator. So we did we did participate in a hackathon that was organized by Kone. Kone is an elevators company, and elevator is a thing which is completely managed by the company, right? So they do the installations, they do the maintenance, right? And they want to keep on improving the elevators. Now, you would ask, what is there for me, uh, to work with the elevator company, right? So the interesting thing here is the Kone Elevators company, they created APIs for their elevators, right? And then they exposed the APIs to the end users. And they asked users or developers, to build interesting concepts or interesting applications using those APIs, right? So now you see what they are doing is they are transforming the way they are building the elevators. So they are not the only one who will build applications for the elevators, but they want others to build applications for elevators, and create interesting things. So one of the interesting thing was that, let's say you have an elevator in a hotel, right? And in a hotel, you always have your smart cards for your room, right? And one interesting thing that was presented by someone is, your smart cards, they would integrate with your elevator. So as soon as you step into the elevator, the smart card would interact with the elevator, and the elevator would know that you have a room on 5th floor. So you don't need to press the 5 button, right? The elevator can simply take you to the floor where your room is, right? Isn't that an interesting concept, right? The way user works with the elevator, that is changing. So you don't have to worry about pressing buttons. As soon as you enter the elevator knows, where to take you. So that's one of the power of exposing the APIs and let people work the APIs and come up with interesting solutions. That's how you transform your business. Another interesting thing that we did is because the elevators have APIs, we use those APIs to understand the health of the elevator, right? And by health of the elevator, I would mean that when does it need some maintenance? If it is broken down, if it is going to be, if there is going to be a breakdown of the elevator, I can monitor the elevators in my city across different hotels and apartments, and I can dispatch the staff to take care of those elevators. So I don't really want customers to keep on calling me that my elevator has broken down. Instead, it's me who knows that this elevator has broken down, and I just fix it in time before customer complain, right? So that's a different experience for customers. They don't have to follow up with my company to fix the elevators, right? But I am very proactive in telling customers that, okay, you have a problem, I am fixing it for you, right? So that's a customer delight. So again, that's the power of digital transformation. So you are basically transforming the way you work with elevators and the way you provide service to the customers, right? So now, having looked at this is the reference architecture. And as a engineer, as a as a developer, I think this is what you would look for. How should I go about digital transformation, right? So the fundamental thing over here is your API management. So what I want to do is I want to expose the APIs of my business, right, to the other people so that they can use those and build more and more integrations and more services that adds value to my business. Okay. So you would generally have a API management layer. An API management layer is nothing but what it does. It's a central or it's an entry point for your users to use your APIs. So you may have 10 systems. Each system has its own APIs. Now all those APIs will be consolidated at the API management layer, and your users, they would have a single entry point to use any APIs that they would like to, right? So if you look at AWS Cloud, there is AWS API management service that's available. In IBM Cloud, there is IBM's API management layer. If you are running your own private data center, then there are, of course, open source tools like WSO2 and Nginx, which can act as API management layer. Okay. And then this is the DMZ, which means that this is demilitarized zone. Okay, so this is exposed to the public internet. But anything below that, this is your private network. This is your LAN. Okay, so the only way your users can access your APIs is through the DMZ, and they do not get access to any of your um, applications and services which are running in your network. Okay, then you have the commercial softwares that you're using. You may be using some of the cloud services like Salesforce and Office 365. You have some microservices. You have some data stores, databases, messaging systems. So all these systems are integrated over here, right? And when they are integrated, you have sort of uniform APIs, then which are then exposed to the API management layer. Okay. So the north side of this diagram is about APIs that your users will use. Okay. And the south side of this architecture is about all the services and applications that you want to integrate and give it to the users. Okay. Then you have the analytics. So you always want to know how your APIs are being used by users. Are they happy with it? What sort of value add they can get from those APIs? And that's where the analytics comes in. So you would monitor how different users, how different developers, partners are using your APIs, how much, how much is the usage, what data they are using. And that gives you more insights, and you can do more improvements on your APIs, right? And once you improve, you will start noticing that your business is improved, right? You have more customers. The customer experience has improved, which essentially means that you are in your growth path. Your revenues are increasing, right? And then finally, you have identity and access management, which basically ensures that only authorized users can access your services. So you have authorized partners, you have authorized vendors, that are supposed to use the APIs to build new services, new products, and you enforce that using the identity and access management services. So again, as an engineer, as a developer, all these things are something which you should know. When you go to any cloud, the cloud provides identity and access management services, right? So you should be aware that it's a fundamental requirement from a security perspective. Analytics, we talked about big data and analytics. So if you are excited about analytics, this is where you start with. These are the systems that are built in-house for the customer. So there are databases that you work with. You build your microservices, you build your applications. So you got to have experience how to build applications, how to build microservices, and so on, right? So all these boxes in this diagram, each box means something to the developer. So there are SMEs, subject matter experts, for each of these boxes. There are people who are very specialized to perform one part of this, right? And this is where the value lies. So in a digital transformation, you have to stitch in all these pieces together so that you have a transformed business. And to do that, you need people with different kinds of experience. You need different experts, to work this all together in a fashion that will transform your business. Okay. So keep in mind all these things that you see here. Someday you will be using these. Someday you will be working on this. So the earlier you have some experience with that, that's definitely going to help you. Okay, so with that, I think what I want to do is I want to demo you a couple of case studies that we have built. And it's actually a video that explains how this was done. Right. So all these boxes in this diagram, each box means something to the developer. So there are SMEs, subject matter experts for each of these boxes. Okay, so this first case study is about the intelligent parking system. So in US or European countries, the airport parking lots, they are huge. I mean, literally they are huge. So it can accommodate like thousands of cars. And if I want to, park my vehicle, I have to find a parking spot and then I have to remember it. And it's, the parking area is so huge that managing the parking is a nightmare for the operator. So this case study is about how to improve the parking system. Okay, so the fundamental thing here is basically using a drone to monitor the parking lot. And then drone can identify which are the vacant parking lots. And when you enter the parking lot, the drone will tell you that, okay, you can park here. The drone can also guide you to a parking spot, so that you don't have to waste your time searching for a parking lot and then park it. Similarly, when you want to retrieve your your parked vehicle, you can just ask the drone, where is my vehicle, and the drone will guide you, right? Okay, so this is the parking system that was developed. European countries, the airport parking lots, they are huge. I mean, literally they are huge. So it can accommodate like thousands of cars. And if I want to, park my vehicle, I have to find a parking spot and then I have to remember it. And it's parking, especially the parking area is so huge that managing the parking is a nightmare and frustrating for the operator. Let us introduce you to smart parking with quad compass
An intelligent, low-maintenance, inexpensive, flexible, and unique parking enablement technology.
to monitor the parking lot.
It not only
And then
identifies
this
open
drone can
spaces, but
identify
also
which are the
assists
vacant
drivers
parking
in
lots.
driving their vehicles to the empty
And
spaces,
when you enter the parking
thus
lot,
saving
the drone
time,
will tell you that,
ensuring
okay,
full
you can park
utilization
here.
of parking spaces,
The drone
and
can
most
also
importantly, reducing
guide you
frustration
to a
for the
parking spot,
drivers.
so that you don't have to waste your
This
time
parking
searching for a
solution
parking
works
lot
with a
on your
collection
car.
of quadcopters
Similarly, when you want to
connected
retrieve
to
your
the
car,
Watson IoT platform,
your
in
parked
concert
vehicle,
with
you
software
can
that's used to
just
manage the parking
ask the
facility
drone,
and can
where is my
integrate
vehicle,
with any
and the
payment
drone will
gateway.
guide you, right? So this is
Quadcopters assist the parking lot business by not only
parking system
locating
that was
available parking
developed.
slots, but also by identifying irregular parking time limit violations, any unusual activity around the vehicles, attempts at vehicle theft, as well as any obstacles in the parking lot. Integration with reservation systems, notification, and alert services can make this service even more customer-friendly. The Internet of Things, IoT, is revolutionizing customer service, and our smart parking with quadcopters is yet another demonstration of how Persistent is bringing such solutions to its customers. But why Persistent? As a key partner of IBM with over 25 years of software development experience, this
Okay, so that was a interesting demo of the intelligent parking system using a drone. I think we are quite over time, but let me stop here. I actually have another interesting video to share, but I can share the link and you can all take a look at it. But I think at this point I can stop, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Pradeep sir,
Yeah.
I just want to ask you that you please guide the student that on what areas they have to focus. What are the specific skills they should acquire so that to enter into this field?
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Uh.
So we have looked at 5 pillars of digital transformation, right? One is Internet of Things. Second is cloud computing. Third is data and analytics. Fourth is social networking. And fifth is the mobile computing, right? So these are like essential pillars for a digital transformation. So if you look at any project, any product, it will have a part of each of this, right? You cannot have just one thing as part of your business. Okay, so look at let's say Uber, right? Uber, what you have is mobile computing because the Uber app is mobile based. Then the Uber backend servers, they are hosted in cloud, right? Then Uber uses a lot of analytics and data to give you information about your past rides. It has the map integration in place, which tells you who is the nearest cab that is approaching you, right? Similarly, it uses the social networking where you give feedback about drivers, right? And that feedback is used by Uber to make more and more decisions, right? So in short, what I'm trying to say is you take any company, any business, these 5 pillars will be implicit part of your business. Okay? So for you, you can pick up one or more of these pillars, and acquire skills in that. When you talk about cloud, you learn about AWS cloud, you learn about Azure cloud, you do some certifications. If you're interested in mobility, you understand how to build applications for Android, you learn how to build applications for Apple, iOS, and that's how you start. So if you want to get into digital transformation, first of all, you have to understand these all things right? You may not be expert in all of these, but you have to understand the Internet of Things concept. You have to understand the mobile computing, right? Because these are essential for digital transformation. So initially, you can start with as a developer, but eventually you may grow into a subject matter expert or you are domain expert in one of these things, and then you have an overall understanding and visibility of how you would use all these things together to transform the business, from the current mode into a new and improved mode. Right. So if you're already doing any work on data and analytics, try to learn more and more tools, try to get hang of the tools that are offered by public clouds, because those are really very easy to set up and use. And that's how you will improve your skills in data and analytics. Okay, so same thing applies for Internet of Things and mobile and so on. So if you want to get into digital transformation, first of all, you have to understand these all things. Right?
Anyone
You
would
may not
like
be
to ask
expert in all of
questions?
these, but you
Then
have
feel
to
free.
understand,
Don't shy.
the Internet
Ask
of
your
Things
questions.
concept. You have to understand the mobile computing, right? Because these are essential for digital
Harshal,
transformation. So initially, you can start
Avatar.
as a developer.
Yes,
But
don't hesitate.
you
You
may
feel
go
free
into
to
a
ask
subject
any
matter
question.
expert or you are domain expert in one of these things, and then you have an overall understanding and visibility of how you would use all these things together
Hello.
to transform the business, from the current mode into a
So,
new and
Abhishek
improved
sir,
mode.
Hello, sir. Good morning,
Right.
sir.
So if you're already doing any work on data and
yes,
analytics,
Push.
try to learn more and
Sir,
more
I
tools,
have
try
one
to get
question.
hang of the tools that are offered. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Because those
Sir,
are
you told us
really
about how
very
some
easy to
sectors
set up
are
and
not
use.
willing to cooperate in the
And
online
that's how
market
you will
and
improve your
their
skills in
business
data and
will
analytics.
collide sometime, matlab,
And
after
same thing
some time.
applies for Internet of Things
So,
and mobile
how much
also.
of it is true means many sectors don't know about the means many of us are using 4G phones, but there are 3 million users predicted by Reliance Corporation that says they are not using 4G phones
Don't shy.
and are not aware of
Ask
the
your
internet
questions.
and IoT things. So, sir, how can we pursue them to purchase our goods if they are not aware of any online
Avatar.
marketing schemes?
Yes, don't hesitate.
Okay, good
Free to ask
question.
any question.
So I think that's a problem in India, in some parts of India, but globally, that may not be a problem. But uh, the things are changing, right? This is the advancement in the technology, right?
Hello, sir.
So
Good morning, sir.
in India, more and more service providers, they are setting up their network to provide 4G services to
Sir, I have
the
one question.
consumers, right? In some parts of India, people are still using 3G or
Sir,
2G
you told
because
us
they do not
about
have enough
how
infrastructure.
some sectors are
But
not
things are
willing to
changing.
cooperate in
So I think
online
that's the
market
first
and
part.
their business will
Second part is,
collide sometime.
when people see that there is a value
So,
in
how much of
using
it is
the
true means
services
many sectors
provided by the
know about
service
the
providers
means
in
many
a
of us
particular way,
are using 4G
they will
phones,
quickly
but
start
there are
adopting
3
it.
million users
So
predicted by
even
Reliance
within cities, you
Corporation
can
that
see
says
that when,
they are
you know,
not using 4G
let's say
services
Swiggy and
and
Zomato, they
not
came,
aware of the
initially there was
internet
not much of
and IoT
adoption.
things.
But
So,
when
sir, how
the
can we pursue
mobile
them to
usage
purchase our goods if
increased,
they are not aware of
when
any
and
online
when people got a
marketing
faster
schemes?
connectivity and people found out that this is a better way of ordering food, people started adopting it. The same thing is going to happen to tier 3 cities and tier 4 cities and so on, right? So I think it's a question of time, and it's a question of how fast the infrastructure will be set up across uh, across the parts across India where currently the infrastructure is lacking, right? So it's a question of time. Another example I can give is the banking. So most of the banks are now digital banks, right? Uh, they want people to use ATMs to withdraw money and not go to the bank to withdraw money. They want people to use mobile apps to do transactions and not really come to the branch, right? So in cities, you can see that behaviors are changing. If you go to villages where there are, banks, people have adopted to some extent how they do banking, right? Now people, even if they have feature phones, not smartphones, still they get the SMS and, they understand that their account has been credited and account has been debited, right? So, things will change. It will take some time, but as the infrastructure improves, as the adoption improves, things will change.
Sir, and the second question was that if everything will shift online, so the job vacancy which used to be offline, would it affect the, what can we say, the employment of India or any country if the jobs are shifted online? Means many work will be, most of the work will be done by processors and online computing. So
Yeah, you are right. I think some jobs will no longer be there, but there will be new jobs. Okay, so it's not that the jobs will decrease. Uh, you know, Based on my reading, the jobs will increase, but then the jobs will require a different skill set. Okay. Now let's think about machine learning, right? So in machine learning, the machine learns some of the things about the user behaviors or the patterns, and it provides a solution, right? So this used to be done by programmers earlier, right? They used to write programs to analyze the data and provide an output, and now these developers are not required because machine is doing that.
and the second question was
So
that
these kind of jobs where people used to write programs, they are no longer there or they are reducing. But on the other hand, there are new jobs which are about writing machine learning algorithms. There are new jobs about applying machine learning to different areas of a business, to different projects to make it more efficient, right? So there are new jobs created around machine learning and artificial intelligence, and that's going to happen. So as we progress, a set of jobs will no longer be there, but at the same time, a set of new jobs will be created, right? So for you as an engineer, as a developer, what is really important is you understand the technology spectrum, right? You understand what new things are coming. You always have to keep on learning new and new things so that you are always updated, and then you will never be obsolete. You will be never working on stuff that is legacy and that is obsolete, but you will always be ready to take on new work, always be ready to work on something new, you know which is part of the technological advancements. So my advice to you and everyone is that, um, keep on always learning, and be aware of what new things are coming. So there are very good, daily newsletters that you can subscribe to. You can go to medium.com. Medium.com is a great source of information for the new cutting edge technologies and new things that are coming into market. You can subscribe to daily newsletter and get a hang of what new things are coming, and eventually that will help you to decide what to learn and what not.
yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Ajit sir, my question to you is that see everything is going is getting online. You are online purchasing, online banking, every business you are going for online. So what about the security issues? Because everything is online, so everybody's data is exposed to the digital platform, digital media. So there are so many hackers are there. So what about the security issues? How that can be handled?
Yeah, I think security will be an implicit part of any pillar, right? So we have looked at 5 pillars, and security is an implicit part of each and every of those. When you talk about Internet of Things, you basically have sensors, right, attached to your let's say factories or machines, right? So if those sensors are not secured, it's quite easy for someone to hack them and hack the data, right? Or inject some data which is harmful to your systems, right? So you would need security to make sure that your sensors cannot be hacked, and the data that your sensors are sending to your servers, that is also sent over a secure channel, right? Similarly, when you talk about cloud computing, you have to make sure that whatever resources you are creating in the cloud, those are secure and those cannot be accessed by anyone. So I would consider security as a horizontal across all of these. And again, any part of project that we do, security as an implicit part. So there are people who are expert on security for Internet of Things. There are people who are experts on security for web applications. They will try to find the flaws in your web applications. They will try to break it. And it's called ethical hacking, right? And then they will tell you that, okay, your system has these security issues and you have to fix them. Okay, so consider security as a horizontal which spawns across all these pillars. If you are interested on the security part, I think this is where you can look at, or you can start at, security for Internet of Things and security for cloud, security for data and analytics, and this is how you can get started about that. And the data that your sensors are sending to your server. So Kulkarni sir, I hope I answered your question. Right. Similarly, when you talk about cloud computing.
So, sir, I think the security cryptography is also one of the area where the students can focus on.
So I would consider security as a horizontal. Yeah, cryptography. Yeah, cryptography. And again, right. So cryptography is actually implicit for any security. So you always work with certificates. You always work with encrypted channels for sending and receiving data. When you talk about data security, you may want to encrypt the data, right? And that's where the cryptographic comes into picture. Now there are lots of providers who have already built very sophisticated solutions for cryptographic use. So if you really want to get into R&D around cryptography, yes, that's an option. But in most general purpose, people tend to use the cryptography that's been developed by different vendors and ISVs. Security for data and analytics, and this is how you can.
So anyone is having any questions? Please ask.
So Kulkarni sir, I hope I answered your question.
Sir, I have a question.
Huh.
Sir, what do you think about blockchain as a technology and its usage in security part of any project or implementation of any application? What do you think about it?
Okay, so blockchain is a new technology. It's not fully matured yet, but people are starting to see some benefits of using blockchain. And it tries to overcome some of the challenges in a multi-party system, right? When there are multiple parties that trying to work on the same data, right? There are of course challenges with respect to synchronization. There are challenges with respect to who modified what, which have a legal standing as well, right? And that's where people see some advantages of using blockchain. Now, I think blockchain can be more adopted by banking systems, where there are a very large legal standings. But again, it's not a fully mature technology. It's not fully productionalized. By production, I mean, when it's by production, I mean, when actually the people start using it, at large scale. So it's not entirely up to that point, but I do believe that there will be more and more advances on the blockchain side, and eventually, large organization and institutes, they will start adopting blockchain as a foundation layer, where multiple parties are involved. So it addresses some of the security concerns, with respect to non-repudiation, and the shared data access by multiple parties. But again, blockchain, there are few providers who provide the blockchain format, and you have to build applications on top of the blockchain platform, right? And when you build applications, you always have to consider the security aspects for your application. So you would try to leverage the security supported by the blockchain platform, but at the same time, your applications will also have to consider the security aspects. Now, if you build an application on top of blockchain, you may provide a mobile app interface for your application, right? And then you have to think about security aspects in your mobile app. If your application is hosted on cloud, because the blockchain platform itself hosted on cloud, you have to deal with the security aspects for your cloud application. So again, so security will be horizontal across all these pillars, irrespective of whether you are using a blockchain platform to build your application or not. So it addresses some of the security concerns.
Yes, got it.
With respect to non-repudiation,
Anyone?
And the shared data access by multiple parties. But again,
So,
blockchain.
I don't
there
think
are
anyone.
few providers
So,
who provide the blockchain
Shall we stop
platform,
now?
and you have to build applications on top of
Yes.
the blockchain platform. And when you build applications,
So, Abhishek sir?
you always have to consider the security aspects for your application.
So I think he has
So
left
you
the
would try
meeting.
to leverage the security
personal issues.
supported
Okay,
by the
sir.
blockchain platform,
Then
but at the same
thank you
time,
very much, sir,
your
Jaideep sir,
applications will
for
also
your
have to consider the
informative
security
and
aspects. Now, if you build
interesting
application on top of
session
blockchain,
on this
you may provide a
digital
mobile app
transformation.
interface for your application,
And
and you have to think about security aspects.
I hope all of you have taken the
If your
good advantage
application
of
is
this.
hosted on cloud,
And
because the blockchain platform itself hosted on cloud,
so thank you.
you have
Thank
to
you,
deal
sir,
with the security aspects
for
of
your
cloud
precious time that you have given us
So
for
again, so security will
for
be
for
horizontal
this session.
across.
So thank you very much, sir.
irrespective
Jaideep,
of
sir.
whether Yeah, thank you very much, Kulkarni sir, and thanks to all the students for attending this session. And I hope it was useful and give you some ideas, how to build your careers and what to look for.
Anyone? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Students, you need to fill the feedback form. Then only your attendance will be counted for this webinar.
Shall we stop now?
So please fill this feedback form. I'll share the link in chat box.
So Abhishek sir. I think he has left the room. Okay, sir. Then thank you
Once
very much, sir,
you fill this form, then you may leave.
for your informative and interesting session. Digital transformation. I hope all of you have taken advantage of this.
कारण आपला इश्यू काय आहे ते समजा आपण थोडं आपण चालू करतो
Thank you.
म्हणतो